What's up? Welcome in. Happy Wednesday on the CHGO Bears Podcast. My name is Adam Hoge, alongside Nicholas Moreano today. What's up, Nick?
Nothing much, Adam. How are you?
I'm great. The CHGO Bears Podcast presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Or should I call you Nick Moreano?
Yeah, and if you didn't listen to the Hoge and Johns podcast yet from yesterday's episode, they had Brad Spielberger on there. Great guy. And I met him for the first time in Indy. Definitely 6'8".
I'd never met him.
But yeah, a Marino. So Adam Johns.
He blew it. He just ruined your name, and now it's Marino.
And yeah, now my dad listened to it yesterday. He's like, what's up with those Adams? They're funny, but...
Between Nick Moreano, Nick Moreau, and Nick Marino, I am just totally confused who anybody is. I don't even know who I am anymore.
Or how tall. That's another thing.
Oh,
so, Lawrence, we have the graphic or the tweet, so we're going to bring that up real quick, Adam. This was...
oh, wow. You guys prepped for this.
We did. So, we had one of our listeners here, Keith, just finished listening to the Hoge and Johns podcast, and, pretty early on in the show, says... 73 inches tall. And you said your dad called you.
Oh, yeah. I got a phone call from him along with the 100 tweets. You just can't misspeak anymore in this world. Everybody calls you out for it. I mean, it's just... You have to be perfect.
I'm surprised you didn't get canceled.
I feel like I am being canceled now. You guys got graphics ready?
Well, I was saying, we need to bring in the measuring tape now.
Yeah.
Olin's going to be in here tomorrow, and he was the one who said something at first on I think, Monday show.
I have to say now, this has gotten to the point where I am actually confused.
You don't know who I am if I'm about how tall you are.
If it was 73 inches or 75.
Well, I guess we're going to find out tomorrow.
Yeah,
because I'm bringing the measuring tape. That's happening. So
I'm going to split the difference and say I'm a legit 6'2". Can I just concede that?
Say it now because we'll know tomorrow. And then
maybe we should maybe we need to do an over-under on this.
There we go.
Yeah.
Deuce.
We'll see if PointsBet can hook that up for us.
What are people in the chat saying? I mean, I wonder if they'll chime in at some point. But
well, nobody believed yesterday that I ever dunked in my life, which that one I will fight till my death. It's just frustrating because there's no way I can prove it now at almost 36 years old when there weren't iPhones back when it happened. But that's okay.
It's all right, Adam.
Whatever.
We'll get answers, though.
Wait, you don't have some camcorder footage?
No, I don't. Sorry. I wasn't carrying camcorders around with me at the University of Wisconsin in 2004.
There's no Blu-ray?
Maybe I should have.
Laserdisc?
Blu-rays. Blu-rays just never worked, huh?
No.
Just what a waste of time that was.
I see the comment right here, 8 Hour Vibes. So Dan Marino, which was also mentioned on the podcast. That's
your uncle.
Yes. My brother's name is Dan, and they used to call him Dan Marino all the time because not a lot of people said Moreano right, but it happens.
Including Adam Johns.
Including Adam
apparently. Well, I guess speaking of connections to The Athletic, which is where Adam Johns works, we're going to have his co-worker and partner on. Kevin Fishbane will join the show today. He had a sit-down with Ryan Poles last week at the owners' meetings and had a good story that came out yesterday. So we're going to have him on to talk about some of that here in a little bit. So welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by PointsBet. Hoge, it's all good, Shorty. Thank you. Thank you.
He's short, then I don't even want to know what I am.
Right, I'm going to say, regardless, I'm still pretty tall.
Yeah.
Whatever we're haggling over here, I still feel pretty solid about my height, whatever it is. I am not 6'8", though, like Brad Spielberger. I don't even think I'd want to be. I already have height issues. I cannot sit on airplanes unless I get the main cabin extra, the extra two inches of room. Everybody can use an extra 2 inches here and there, right? But especially on the airplane, and if I get stuck back in coach without that, it's just the most uncomfortable thing.
I have a friend who's 6'8", 320 pounds, and yeah, you can't even go on roller coasters at Six Flags. He's just not allowed. There's a limit. So, I mean, obviously I don't know about those issues, but you run into things like that.
Josh, what's up, man? We see you. Welcome into the show for the first time. Appreciate you. And we want to also mention that for those of you that watch every day, these shows are free. You should be checking out all of our shows on the CHGO network. But
8 Hour Vibes, what? Hoge is 5'1", Marino again, is 4'11". Olin Kreutz earns $15 an hour.
Just facts. Everything there is factual, I think.
Yep.
So at noon today, right after this show, for our members, so this is good. If you watch every day, we appreciate you. But if you want to go to allchgo.com, get the memberships that we talk about, you can do that through PointsBet, get that deal, which we'll tell you more about here in a minute. And also get the free t-shirt when you sign up, all that. If you haven't done it already, now's a good time to do it, because as soon as we're done here at noon, I'm going to jump on the Discord, the CHGO Lounge that we've been telling you about, and do a chat with our members up there. So that will continue on at noon today, so I'll give you some time to sign up if you haven't already done that. But what we wanted to talk about today to start the show before we bring Kevin Fishbane in, here's a fun topic. The worst free agent signings and pickups that you can remember, and this is a long list that we can go through.
Yeah, I don't know how I even thought of the idea, but it's like, we've been talking about, again, the Bears haven't done much in free agency, and then my mind just wandered, like, what are some of the worst free agent signings? And if you've seen the graphic, like Mike Glennon's on there, I think that's where I kind of want to start this conversation, with some of the worst free agent signings. A guy that played 4 games for the Bears, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The contract itself, 3 years, $45 million. Then you're forced to play a Mitchell Trubisky, where that wasn't the Bears' plan, but just seeing how he was played, and then just seeing, like, they just couldn't go on with Mike Glennon. Like, that was the first guy that I immediately thought of, but I know you have an interesting one here, Adam.
Well, and if you want to chime in on the comments, we'll definitely pop those up, because we want to hear what our listeners and viewers have to say on this. So you're rolling with Mike Glennon. I'm going to roll with Andy Dalton. Okay?
There's another one. Jared Allen. He made my list.
Yeah, Jared Allen. Yeah, partially, though, they didn't do Jared Allen any favors by switching the scheme on him. And he was definitely a 4-3.
And he was supposed to replace Julius Peppers. It's like, come on.
That's tough. But the reason I'm going to roll with Andy Dalton, who's obviously a better quarterback than Mike Glennon, is because you already made that mistake once. Why did you do it again? Like, there was what? Why? And to make it even worse, you already had Nick Foles on the roster when you signed Andy Dalton. Like, it was just a completely redundant signing that made no sense even before they drafted Justin Fields. And this isn't really anything against Andy Dalton, who I still think is a very good backup quarterback and a guy that you can definitely throw in there and start. Somebody who, honestly, if they were to trade Nick Foles, would be a better backup. He'd be a good backup option for the Bears. But the point is, they signed him to be the starter. They gave him $10 million guaranteed when nobody else was. Like, I guess the only good thing is that it was only a 1-year deal compared to the contract they gave Mike Glennon. But it's like, how could you repeat that mistake? Like, that's why I think it's actually worse than the Mike Glennon signing, even though the results were better, because Glennon was just horrible.
I'll add to this, and the Bears had all this hype around Russell Wilson, and then you land, an Andy Dalton. So it's like you go from this high that the Bears fans were, riding for a bit, and then Andy Dalton signing, you're just immediately down here again. It's like, and then obviously, I mean, like you said, he did not obviously play as bad as a Mike Glennon. He was a really good teammate to Justin Fields too. But going into like why they made the signing, I see exactly where you're coming from, Adam.
Yeah, some people mentioning Nick Foles, as Jordan points out there. I didn't hate the Nick Foles signing. Like, they had to do something to bring in competition for Mitch Trubisky to push him. You don't want to give up draft picks. It wasn't a ton, though. I understood why the Nick Foles trade.
What about the money? Wasn't he like fully guaranteed money or something?
Yeah, but it's like even if you look at what his contract is right now, like it's in the range of backup quarterbacks that you would pay. It seems like a lot, but in the quarterback market, it's actually relatively affordable. So and Nick Foles can still play. I don't have a problem with that. I see Lamar Houston's name in the comments. That's a pretty good one.
I'll never forget how he, tore his ACL sacking Jimmy Garoppolo in like a blowout game where the Patriots were up 50 to whatever it was, and he does his little sack celebration. Like,
well, yesterday we did one shining moments. Like, whatever the opposite of that would be Lamar Houston, because the one moment you remember him for in Chicago is tearing his ACL, celebrating a sack when they were getting blown out.
Oh my
Like, is there anything worse than that?
I don't think so. Another guy that I did an honorable mention, I guess, in this category here, Roy Williams, a guy that signed in late July of 2011, and I think why the Bears wanted to bring him in, he had a connection to Mike Martz, who was his OC in Detroit in 2006. And this is a former number 7 overall pick, but what I remember from Roy Williams, Adam, is like every time, the minimal times he made first down catches because he was either dropping the ball or, just wasn't very productive with the Bears, he did this little first down signal. And once he did that, that's all you heard from Roy Williams. That was literally it. He did the first down, and then you knew to check out. Like Roy Williams, you weren't going to see anything else in terms of catches. And, of course, like touchdowns, like in his Bears career, 37 receptions, 507 yards, 2 touchdowns. But I just remember as being a young Bears fan, like, God, whenever he did this little first down signal, that was it.
Yeah.
That was...
You don't get to do the first down signal unless you do it regularly.
Exactly.
You know, and you had way too many drops to be doing that. Like, that's what I remember Roy Williams for, is all the drops. Who was the wide receiver this year that did that, like, as the clock was winding down? Was that Justin Jefferson, actually?
Was it?
The Vikings Steelers game I'm thinking of?
Why? No,
it wasn't.
Pittsburgh, Notre Dame.
It was Juju.
No, the other,
yeah.
Why am I blanking as
Claypool?
Yeah, Claypool.
Chase Claypool.
Chase Claypool. You're right. He was the one. But it was that game I'm thinking of. That's why I was thinking it was the Vikings Steelers game. I'm pretty sure it was that game. That was a primetime game. And yeah, the clock's running down, and he's on his knee doing first down signals.
And
it's like, what are you doing? Okay, and another name that we absolutely have to bring up is Cody Parkey.
Yeah, you
because
have to.
First, like, the results were terrible, cost you a playoff win, but also it was unnecessary money to a kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as you've seen, you can find kickers. Like, you don't want to be in that endless search for kickers, but you also don't have to pay them huge money unless you know what you have already.
Exactly.
Like, that was a stretch. It was a bad contract. The results were horrible. I mean, that's got to be up there.
For sure. I saw in the comments it was Trey Burton, Jimmy Graham. What about Deion Sims if we're talking about tight ends here? A guy that, oh, man.
The guy Ryan Hayes once singled out as the most improved player in the offseason.
A 3-year, $18 million contract. He caught 15 passes for 180 yards, 1 touchdown in 2017. And then going into next year, targeted 4 times, 2018 before landing on injured reserve with a concussion after 8 games. So Deion Sims, like, yes, the other, like, I see where people are still, like, with Trey Burton never recovering from that playoff game, didn't get to play in it, and never really was the same. But, man, Deion Sims is, I think, way worse in terms of what Adam just said about him being improved and what he actually did. Like, a Deion Sims, very forgettable player for the Bears.
Yeah. So there's plenty of options. Pernell McPhee, Geno Hayes. Wow. Yeah.
So forgettable.
Throwback.
That
By the way, I was wrong. I Enrique in the chat corrected me. Foles, of course, was a trade. That's my bad.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
Sure.
But they did redo his deal, I think, when they traded for him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they did. So it was kind of both.
Free agent signs,
I'll take
pickups,
half
however
credit.
you want to phrase it. But, yeah, forgettable names. All those guys for the Bears.
Yeah, and if you have any more, you can chime in and
go down memory lane a little bit.
Yeah, because there's plenty. How about Orlando Pace? That's another one. Orlando Pace was before I started covering the team, like right before. I don't remember the money that was involved in it, because that's part of this discussion. Like, if you're gonna take flyers on guys, remember when they had Santonio Holmes? Like, for a
hot minute.
But that's okay. That doesn't hurt you. You have guys where you can get out of the deals. Like Marcus Wheaton, remember him?
Oh, yeah.
But again, not a huge contract. Just didn't work out. I mean, there's a long list of signings that
was that all like the 2017 class? Now that I'm thinking, like Wheaton, Sims, Glennon, like, oh man. They had a safety in there too, which I'm blanking.
Well, Antrell Roll.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the same year, but they signed him at one point. Ryan Mundy might be the one you're thinking of that year.
How about just going down memory lane here? The Bears had Sam Hurd, and we all know what kind of happened with him and the whole.
Yep.
I think he was trying to sell
Brandon
drugs.
Manumaleuna.
Oh.
I think that was the year Julius Peppers. They had a big press conference that was to announce Julius Peppers, but they also had Brandon Manumaleuna and Chester Taylor at the press conference.
Yes.
They had all three of them up there.
Yeah. And obviously the tension was on a little bit.
And I want to say, was Manumaleuna basically the Mike Martz guy they wanted to replace Greg Olson?
Oh. Well.
Oof.
Yeah, oof is right.
You don't need pass catching tight ends. You just need guys that can block. It's like, okay, well then just sign an extra left tackle then. Okay, and then go into the Bradley Sowell, heavy formation.
There you go. Quinn Demps maybe. We named all these safeties, but that I think sounds...
I barely even remember Quentin Demps, and it was only a few years ago.
Yeah, same here. That's why we didn't name him initially. We just forgotten Bears and worst free agent signings.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, it's I don't know if that was fun. I don't necessarily wouldn't go that route, but it is kind of fun to look back at some of the random names in Bears history that have definitely not worked out. But hey, I want to tell you the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app. Use code CHGO when you sign up, and if you do that right now, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it, because if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. So that's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com. They'll take care of you. If you have any problems, any questions, anything like that, that is the email address to send an email to. For your home for in-live, in-play betting, just got even better because PointsBet has a new feature called the Live NBA Same Game Parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect Live NBA Same Game Parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. If you want more, you can also boost your live games, same live game parlays. Watch live, parlay live, boost live with PointsBet. That's a lot of lives.
Mm-hmm. It is
a lot of lives right there.
You're like a cat.
What was that?
You're like a cat, 9 lives.
I was going to say that, but I knew you would, Lawrence.
That's why I'm here.
Yep.
I'm so fast.
Now,
Also
online
like a
sign
cat.
up is available in Illinois. Download the PointsBet app right now. Register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. Even a cat could do it. I don't know if that part might not be true, but maybe if you have a really smart cat. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
All right, I got a question for everybody in the chat, people in the studio. Do you want to start your day with a competitive edge?
Yes.
Anybody? All right, we got one. Here's how you can do that, Lawrence. Strava CBD coffee is a game changer.
Dude, that's why I'm so fast that I already had mine.
See?
This morning.
There we go. We're off to the...
Brewed up a nice pot. It's delicious.
Well, it's helped thousands of people to improve their overall wellness and quality of life. Strava delivers delicious, fresh, roasted, specialty coffee infused with organic broad-spectrum CBD. And just so you know, CBD from hemp doesn't make you high or hungry, so if you're concerned, but it does offer real benefits that can help you, like feeling alert and focused without the jitters, living your day more balanced with less anxiety and fewer aches and pains. Plus, including CBD in your daily routine can even help you enjoy more restful sleep so you wake up feeling at your best. And the best part about all of this, Strava is all about quality. Everything is small batch, fresh, and shipped straight to your door. Strava also offers concentrated full-spectrum CBD tinctures for those looking for a more traditional CBD format with a powerful entourage effect of benefits. CHGO listeners can save 25% off their entire purchase when you use code CHGO25. That's 25% off your entire order at StravaCraftCoffee.com when you use code CHGO25 at checkout. Discount coupon valid on non-description purchases only, one use per customer. And already love Strava? Subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club. With Strava, you are in control. Save on your favorite coffees and have them automatically delivered to your home or office on your preferred schedule. Boom.
Great job.
Thank you.
Good
I
job,
try.
Nick Marino. Fantastic. All right, Kevin Fishbane, our guy, the Fishman we call him, is joining us now on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Kev, I just wanted to be put on record that I wore this Northwestern sweatshirt for you out of respect to you, and Nick came in with an Iowa Hawkeyes shirt. So I just I'm trying to be respectful. Obviously, he is not.
Well, I appreciate that. I saw the sweatshirt and I was like, oh, great. I'm joining the show on Northwestern Sweatshirt Day for Hoge in the rotation, the sweatshirt rotation. And, Nick, like, I don't know if disappointed is not the right word. Iowa's had the Cats number the past year. But we can go through the past decade plus and I think Northwestern's held its own. The point is I'm glad there's not an Ohio State person up there because I'd have nothing to say.
Yeah, I know. Well, Adam wore something Wisconsin yesterday, so I had to wear Iowa today to kind of offset it like throughout the week because we can't have too much Wisconsin here on this podcast.
Northwestern 2-0 at Kinnick Stadium with Adam Hoge on the sidelines. Just throwing that out there.
We got to get Adam Hoge off the sidelines. That's what I'm basically hearing.
Just Ben Skoranek, great touchdown catch in the corner of the end zone. If you're Kevin, not if you're Nick.
Yeah.
But it was not so much a great catch in the Super Bowl, though, for the Rams. But, hey, what are you going to do? Kev, thanks for joining us. You had a great story, a chance to have a conversation with Ryan Poles down in Florida last week. And, we had a good 72 hours in Florida. Was it 72 hours? I don't even know if it was 72 hours. But we had we were able to share some nice Uber rides as the sun was rising over the Atlantic Ocean.
It must be nice. Must be nice because that was not happening here.
It was very nice. We got the sun rising to our right, and you had $25 million mansions to our left. It was a very scenic, about as scenic as an Uber drive as you're going to get.
And Mar-a-Lago to your left. So you had this, two different perspectives going on there, depending on which direction you were looking at. But you did have a nice story here with Ryan Poles. You had a chance to sit down with him. Well, I guess before we get into some of the details here, what was your biggest takeaway from your conversation with Ryan Poles last week?
Yeah, I think the quote that stood out to me, because I think like the whole theme of everything we've all been doing the past 2 weeks is this patience, right? Like we're kind of trying to understand what his plan is, what they're doing, why they're doing it. And my biggest takeaway was his kind of candor about how the Bears have failed to be consistent. He said that, the Bears, you have this one good season and then they're either average or below average. And he called that unacceptable, which is true. And like, this is somebody coming from a team that's made the playoffs 7 years in a row. And the Bears haven't made it in 2 years in a row, as you guys know, since 05-06. So I thought, we've learned over the past couple months about Ryan Poles' candor about the roster when he interviewed, and we've seen reflections of what he thought about it. So I think just his understanding of that he really wants to build something that lasts was probably a big takeaway. Now, of course, as we all know, we don't know if his plan is going to work, but it was interesting to get that kind of background that he's kind of thinking about that as he's going about this.
Kevin, when you heard Ryan Poles say that for the scouts, they were told to add a trait to their list, and that trait being resilience. I guess when you heard that initially, just what were your thoughts about it?
Well, Nick, I thought about the guys he's brought in free agency, and he mentioned that too. A bunch of undrafted guys, guys who have had injuries. I don't think I put this in the story, but he also said, he goes, obviously playmakers. We're looking for speed. We're looking for all the athleticism traits, but he likes the idea of a guy that has gone through something. Now I think we'll learn later this month what that could look like. One thing that's going to be interesting, and I'm curious your guys' thought on this, is Ryan Pace really avoided guys with character red flags, and Ryan Poles might do the same. We don't know. But when you hear him describe resilience, that's something that's kind of maybe he's more open to players like that. We don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing yet, because obviously all a case by case basis. But guys who had injuries, guys who lost their starting job and came back. So I think it's he's really trying to build this quote unquote culture, and we've seen it with some of the guys he brought in. He wants draft prospects to also have displayed. I guess he doesn't want guys who have had to coast. He wants guys that have had to really work for something, because then when they get here, it's the 2022 Bears are not going to be coasting anywhere, right? So he's going to need guys that are going to be ready to join this team and join a team that's going to go through something. They're going to go through some challenges.
Yeah, did you get a sense though because you mentioned that the scouts were actually told to add that resilience trait to their list of things they're looking for. How do they define that resilience? Is it just like, okay, they haven't had it easy? Because you could still technically have first round picks who have been through some tough things. I'm just curious, what they're actually looking for when it comes to that resiliency.
Yeah, I think the question I specifically asked him is, what is something you want your scouts to look for that's like a Ryan Poles thing? Like, what's something that reflects what you want? And it's possible that the scouts have always valued guys who have resilience. So maybe for some of these scouts, they didn't have to add it necessarily, but it's something he's focused on. And you're right, Hoge. I mean, look, how many times have we heard a player who's one of the best players in the world talk about adversity, right? Aaron Rodgers, we hear about it all the time, where he slipped in the draft. Even guys who were number one picks, look, the entire Last Dance documentary was about how the greatest player who ever played the game found reasons to create obstacles for himself and create adversity for himself. So you're right. I do think that resilience can come in a lot of different forms for some of these guys. And it also could reflect the fact that they don't have a first round pick, that they're going to be looking for, if Ryan Poles is going to build this thing the way he presumably wants to, he's going to need fifth round picks that hit. He's going to need to find a sixth rounder that hits. And maybe you're better off looking for a guy that has proven that they can overcome something, whatever that is, and that guy might project better than somebody else, because those are the players that he's probably going to be focused on later this month.
Kevin, was it refreshing to hear Ryan Poles basically state that we want to have this longevity for the Bears, where it doesn't have to be a quick turnaround, where we're not looking to just, again, do this, fix this roster in a year or two? It's like we want to have sustained success. Was that maybe just refreshing to hear from a Bears general manager?
Yeah, I think so. It's funny, Nick, because I think every general manager wants that, says it, but it's so hard to do it. We're going to be comparing the Vikings and Bears strategies this offseason for the next couple of years, right? Because it's obviously been very different with two first-time GMs, first-time head coaches with those teams. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I've seen a little bit of revisionist history about Ryan Pace. Like, when Ryan Pace got here, this is what he wanted to do also. He started, when did he start trading picks? I guess he started trading up pretty quickly. He traded up for Leonard.
It started with Mitch, right? And then
Mitch was the big one.
And then it was Khalil Mack, and
then it trickled down effect.
Yeah,
because at first he was traded back a few times. I mean, the Cody Whitehair was a trade back, but when all the dust settled, he was involved in a lot of draft trades, and I want to say 75% of them were trading up, not back.
Yes, and the big difference too, if you look at the 2015 free agent haul, he added two guys in their 30s. Antro Roll and Eddie Royal. We're not seeing that with Ryan Poles, but I do think Pace started making these financial splurges once they had that taste of success, kind of, and because the Mike Glennon thing, I don't know, it didn't impact their cap really. They were fine, they could afford it. It was a stupid move, but it wasn't like they didn't have the space to do it. But I'm going down a little tangent. The point is what Ryan Poles is doing, I think all GMs want to do, is just easier said than done. And and as I said earlier, this might not work. And the other thing too, what I think is very possible, guys, is next offseason, it's all in, right? They're going to have all this cap space. They're going to have a first round pick back. They're going to know exactly what they have in Justin Fields. They're going to know they only have another maybe year or two before they have to give him a new contract. And they've seen what's going on around the league. So maybe what the Bears do next year, and then suddenly we're being like, well, they're not so patient anymore. But maybe they just needed this time to get a couple guys to fill some spots, maybe re-sign the guys who turn out to be good. And then next year, suddenly we're not talking about patience anymore. We're talking about a team that knows that their window is closing, because that's how fast it goes in the NFL.
By the way, another reason Kev, you weren't here earlier, but you may have been watching, but we were talking about the worst free agent signings, and I went with Andy Dalton over Mike Glennon. And another, like you just said, the Glennon signing didn't really hurt the cap. Last year, they didn't have any cap space. So that's another reason why the Andy Dalton signing was so bad. Like, they had to get rid of other players like Charles Leno and or Kyle Fuller that could have helped for a redundant quarterback they didn't need. It's just another when they had already made the Mike Glennon signing.
I don't know. It's not my money. They want to spend on Mike Glennon, have the cap space. Like, by all means. Hey, if Jordan Howard catches that pass in week 1, the Bears could have been 2-2.
Yeah, but you're relying on Jordan Howard to catch passes.
That's where.
So,
what am I doing? What am I doing trying to defend Mike Glennon? What am I?
I don't. You guys kind of look the same. That's probably what it is.
I guess.
So
yeah, we had that moment.
I'll tweet it out later. I still have that photo. It's one of my favorites. All right. I want to go to the window you're talking about, and this is one of the reasons why, like, I think we all agree the Bears aren't going to be great this year. But anybody who's expecting this to be a long rebuild, for the point that you just brought up, Kevin, like, the window's going to start closing on Justin Fields' rookie contract. Whether they're paying Roquan Smith or not, his contract is going to go up. Jalen Johnson's already going into year 3 if he turns out to be a guy that you want to pay. The point being that you are going to start running out of time here for some of these big contracts that you're going to have to hand out to your own players. And so, with the cap space that they're going to have a year from now, you think that they start going for a little bit, but a lot of that will depend, I think, on how some of these younger players, the one thing about last year's draft class, they did end up with a lot of picks. And so there are a handful of guys like Tevin Jenkins, Larry Borum, Khalil Herbert, Daz Newsome, Thomas Graham, like Kyrus Tonga, who I don't know if he's going to fit in the scheme or not, but there is like kind of a good group there that maybe if 3 or 4 of them take a jump this year, that could help accelerate things a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a big, like, let's see what we have season, which isn't fun. It doesn't sell, get Bears fans excited necessarily. And it doesn't have to be that if Justin Fields is outstanding and if their second round picks turn out to be great as rookies. And if, Justin Jones and Al-Qadim Muhammad are really good up front, like there are ways, I always want to avoid the Bengals comparison, but obviously it's the NFL, like things can happen. But I feel like when they got here, you had no first round pick. You have a bad roster. You have an old roster. You don't have a lot of cap space. Like, what the Dolphins are like. So the Dolphins don't know what they have in Tua. So they decided to let's go get a bunch of guys. And this is a kind of last chance for Tua. That's the way I kind of read what's going on in Miami. And they put those guys together and they'll see what they have in Tua. I don't think the Bears they didn't have the money or the draft picks to do that if they wanted to. And even if like I was thinking about this yesterday, right? If the Bears splurged and traded, their 2023 first round pick for one of these wide receivers, right? And decided to spend big money on Teron Armstead. Like, does that make the 2022 Bears like a Super Bowl contender? Does it make them, are they going to beat the Packers? Like, I don't know. Like, I think they were just stuck this year.
Yeah, and also to your point, I don't know if it makes the 2023 Bears that much better if then you're taking away a first-round pick a year from now. So, yes, to your point, like, while I do think they needed, and they still do need, at least one stud on that offensive line, I can see the other side of it where the patience, certainly can see the other side of it where the patience, because you're just not 1 or 2 players away. You're a lot of players away.
Just to play.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, go ahead.
just to play devil's advocate real quick, like maybe like a guy Teron Armstead doesn't make the Bears competitive, but does he help give you the best advantage to see a Justin Fields, a proper evaluation of Justin Fields, so that when you go into 2023, you kind of have a better understanding of what you're going to get? And I guess my question for you, Kevin, like with what the Bears have done so far offensively, Equanimeous St. Brown, Pringle, Lucas Patrick, guys like that, how would you kind of assess what this offseason has done to get the evaluation that you want to see from a Justin Fields?
Nick, for an Iowa fan, that's a great point too. Is when because I think left tackle, offensive line, that is the one spot where I'm like they should add somebody, because the thing is even if you I don't know what they think of Tevin Jenkins, Larry Borum. And if they have somebody in the second round they love, you have no idea if that guy's going to be good. Like, we all have seen how hard it is to make that transition. So, go find somebody that you can go find your Jason Peters, right? Like, go find somebody like that. I guess you can't find anybody like Jason Peters, but I am kind of surprised they have not done that, just as somebody that can fortify the position. And maybe that guy only starts 8 games and then Tevin Jenkins or Larry Borum takes over at some point. So that I am a little surprised by that. But yeah, I mean, like the base question of have they done enough around Justin Fields? No. But I just it's hard, and it's hard for me to look at the wide receivers and think this guy would have been the difference. He would have been the type of difference maker. He would have made them better. He would have been an upgrade over who they have. There's still a ton of receivers available too. It's funny because we're in this dead period of free agency, but they could. I'm just throwing this out there. Nobody's signed Jarvis Landry yet, right? There are still, Cole Beasley. Say what you will about him, is still available. There's still guys that are more than serviceable receivers. But yeah, I think it's interesting to see, and they touched on this last week in Florida. They're essentially telling us, right, that the scheme last year was awful, and they really believe in Luke Getsy, and they really want to see what feels like the own individual year 2 growth that's kind of natural. My colleague Adam Johns wrote about this today for The Athletic. That's kind of what they're relying on, and maybe that's wrong. We'll obviously find out come September. But yeah, you'd like to see just more weapons, more people around Fields, but I just felt like they were just really limited.
Wait, Johns wrote about the quarterback?
He did.
Oh, I didn't know he did that. No, I
did see
one
a week. One quarterback story a week.
I did see that today. People should check it out on The Athletic. You also had a story where you did a joint story with Daniel Popper, who covers the Chargers, about the Khalil Mack trade. What did you guys sort out with that?
I think the thing that came up was just how Khalil Mack is this symbol for franchises in different directions. He was in 2018, he was again. He was perfect for what the Chargers want. He's you have the Brandon Staley connection, and hearing Staley talk at the owners' meetings about there's not a guessing game with Khalil Mack. Brandon Staley knows exactly what he's going to get from a healthy Khalil Mack. The healthy part is obviously a very important part of the equation. And then you have a Bears team that they had to get another draft pick, and this was their time to move somebody like him. You get the cap space, you get the draft pick. It's just one of those things that for Ryan Poles, he said it. He told me it kind of kicked off what they're trying to do, and then for Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley, it for them kicked off. Because after Khalil Mack came J.C. Jackson, kicked off what they're trying to do with their defense to say they're kind of going all in. So it was interesting to kind of get two teams who are both thrilled with how it turned out, kind of recap why, and just they found, they found this kind of common ground. And then here's Khalil Mack, just this trade chip. It's funny too, guys. Could we talk about how much we devalue defense? Nobody talks about the Khalil Mack trade. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Russ Wilson, and again, for good, I understand it, but it's funny when you go through the craziest March in NFL history, the Khalil Mack story is completely ignored. for the most part. And if he's healthy, he could be a big reason why the Chargers are Super Bowl contenders.
That's a good point. Yeah, and you're right. the Mac buzz was like 24 hours, and then it just basically disappeared across the NFL. And certainly last week in Florida, it was a big story if you went over by Brandon Staley and in that conversation there. But for the most part, no, like in NFL circles, no one was talking about the Mac trade compared to some of the other deals that have been going on there. So, Kev, thanks so much. Sorry, go ahead.
It did take my attention away from Iowa beating Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament.
Yes.
It just happened. I was very annoyed about the state of the basketball program. And then as I'm trying to sort through it, boom, Khalil Mack traded, could move on.
You know,
so thanks, Nick.
We did have one Northwestern question for you. Because Jordan wanted to know, can we get a take from Kevin on how he felt when he found out Brandon Joseph transferred from Northwestern to go join Marcus Freeman and be a Golden Domer?
Jordan. That was tough. Listen, I appreciate everything Brandon Joseph did for Northwestern, and I believe he obviously sees this as what's best for his NFL or NIL, whatever chances, and I'll be rooting for him. Probably the only person on Notre Dame I'll be rooting for. But yeah, listen, Northwestern is 2-0 in South Bend in the last 30 years, so they've got that going for them.
That's a good point.
Which is nice.
Did not know that.
That's a good point. Do they play again anytime soon?
I assume Notre Dame's ducking them. So nothing on this.
Okay.
We're not talking about what happened at Ryan Field in 2018. I'm only talking about what happened in South Bend in 2014.
No, yeah, I don't even remember that game in Evanston.
Yeah, current Bears backup quarterback played a big role in that one.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. In the one. I thought you were talking about the one in Evanston. Yeah, the one.
We're not talking about the one.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot. Yeah, you're right.
I
forgot about that. I can't remember the name of that Notre Dame quarterback. That's I think on the Saints now. Yeah, maybe. No, we don't even need to talk about him.
Doesn't exist.
All right, Kev. Thanks so much. Make sure you guys check out that story on The Athletic, and have a good day.
Thanks, Kevin.
There he is, Kevin Fishbane. I do want to bring up one quick positive comment. You're right over there?
Yeah, I don't know. You could stay in that kind of stance. I cannot.
You don't have to sit. It's
I
not
know,
a
but it's
CHGO
good
requirement.
Good for the
actually, Adam, we did require that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a new thing.
That's why everyone sits like that.
Knee.
I think it's the only way to be comfortable in this chair.
I don't know how you do it. I guess.
I mean, I could do this. I don't really care. Should we just hang out?
I mean,
why not?
I was going to say that we had a comment, I think it was from Joe, that if Justin Fields breaks out and he just needs a couple draft picks to hit, and then the Bears will be competing for the 7th seed in the NFC. Because who doesn't want to be back competing for the 7th seed? Be stuck in nowhere land again, where you're not drafting high and you're losing to the Saints and barely being competitive in the first playoff game. But I do. While that's an okay place to be if you're ascending, right? So I guess in that scenario, Joe, that would actually, I agree with you. That would obviously be a good thing. The problem where the Bears were a couple years ago when they got to that point, it was well, that's the ceiling. That's as high as they can get. This is really what it is. They need a different quarterback. So if Justin Fields does take off, and a couple draft picks hit, I actually don't think that's that crazy to think. I don't think it's the most likely scenario, but I feel like sometimes we forget the defense should still be pretty good.
If they're creating those turnovers, Justin Fields is ascending and taking that leap that you want to see in year 2, then it's not crazy to think. But kind of going back to that Bears team that played the Saints there, it's we all knew going into that game the Bears season was ending. In New Orleans, there was no question about it. I think the best thing that came out of that game, Mitch Trubisky won the Nickelodeon award.
Yeah, what was that called? The
Nickelodeon. It was just
the most
Nickelodeon. Let's see. I can probably find it real quick.
It was instead of MVP, it was
NVP.
The
Nickelodeon
valuable player.
I don't know.
I think Mitch Trubisky. Nickelodeon.
By the way, Ano Rhymes says next episode beanbag chairs. How do you feel about beanbag chairs?
Oh, that would be comfortable.
Would it though?
No.
I mean, I'll take. I did some seated wall squats with where you put a weight on your thighs and you are just standing, just basically in a seated stance for like a minute and 30 seconds, I will take bean bags, whatever, honestly.
Okay, so that's why your leg hurts, not because of the,
No.
how
Like
you're sitting. Now that makes more sense.
Go back and watch the tape of these shows. You'll see me. Like, there's a point where I'm like, all right, legs going down. We're done. And usually I'm like this.
Just because you had a 2-pound weight on your leg doesn't make it any more impressive.
It was 45 pound plates.
See, why does he have to prove these things?
I know.
They want to bring a doctor in here to
We're bringing the
conduct
measuring
a full
tape tomorrow.
physical on me in front of the cameras, which is a little awkward. And I just, prove that you can do the wall sit squat or whatever you said with.
Next leg day will be
Leg days.
Saturday. So I got you.
Ridiculous. All right. Just do your points bet read and move on here. Come on.
All right. Let me. I almost literally forgot about it, but let me scroll down here. If you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. Not only are you going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. My girlfriend got hers yesterday. My entire family has theirs. I'm still waiting on mine, to be completely honest, but we'll get ours. Eventually, Adam. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. And in case you missed it, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
I want to make sure you guys are signing up for the CHGO memberships online at allchgo.com. Of course, we have all these awesome shows for you every single day to check out, both the daily podcast for every team as well as the post-game shows, which are always on fire. I'm looking forward to seeing some of these baseball post-game shows. Opening day's tomorrow. Not for the White Sox. Nope. Friday. I saw the Minnesota Twins already had their opener postponed, and I just found that funny that we're still scheduling games in Minneapolis in early April.
Can I just jump in here?
Sure.
The Cubs are playing host to who tomorrow? The Milwaukee Brewers, who have
a dome.
A dome.
Yeah, I don't.
What are we doing, Major League Baseball? It's the dumbest thing. They do it all the time.
Yeah, and like,
why?
I fully understand that scheduling a 162 game season cannot be an easy thing, especially when all these different teams have their own, like, there's a concert in this building on this day and this, it's not easy. I understand it, but figure it out. You're still Major League Baseball. There's got to be a solution.
And you play the Brewers 100 times, so just flip one of the series. There can't be a concert every time.
Seems like a simple thing.
It's one of my biggest pet peeves. It happens every year. It's like, oh, wait, there's 20 inches of snow in Cleveland. Yeah, because it's off of Lake Erie, and they still do get lake effect sometimes.
I actually, speaking of Milwaukee and Cleveland, I went to a game in Milwaukee that featured the Cleveland, formerly the team we won't name now, against the Angels because I believe there was a major snowstorm.
Yeah, they had to move
and they had the whole series in Milwaukee, and my buddy and I are like, yes, $8 tickets for
let's
right
go.
behind the dugout. Yeah, let's go.
And they were playing the Angels?
Yeah.
Do the Angels play in a climate where
they
can play games in April?
Yeah, it's very cold there.
They play in Canada, right?
Yeah. Anaheim.
Right.
By the way, they Cleveland, you can call them the Guardians now.
Correct. Yes, I just didn't. I almost said the other word, and I was like, wait, what do I say now? So, never mind.
They're not just the Cleveland baseball team. Well, that would be fine, too. But make sure you're checking out allchgo.com. Get those memberships. We've got the merchandise for you. You get a free T-shirt when you become a member. And there's the members-only Discord, which, again, as soon as the show is over at noon, I'm going to be jumping on and continuing the conversation with you guys. As someone points out in the comments that Jermaine Ifedi is going to the Falcons. Yes. And they were, interested in Demir Bird.
He's signed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So Ryan Pace is bringing, some former Bears with him to Atlanta. Will that work out?
Good luck with that, Falcons.
Okay. All right. That's fine. All right. Well, this is the part of the show where we definitely will take some of your super chats, your comments throughout the show. I did see one.
Yeah, I got a couple super chats.
Why don't you go ahead and throw them on there, Lawrence?
This one is not very nice, Nick.
Whoa.
I can't even read it from here.
Oh, I'll read it for you. This is from Eric Freer. Thank you for the super chat, Eric. Hey, Nick, does it take approximately 30 seconds to tour Iowa's football trophy case? Hashtag Iowa has bad corn. Keep up the good work, guys.
The football, like the trophy case, but going after the corn, I mean, come on now.
Delicious corn, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. But
Isn't that like a real thing that like the Nebraska and Iowa fans like will fight over? Like who has the better corn?
I mean, there's
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not.
but Nebraska's irrelevant. So I mean, just putting that out there.
Nebraska's a cool place to go see a game, by the way.
Never been.
Big stadium. I said this yesterday. A lot nicer fans than Iowa fans, for sure. Not even close.
What about the waving?
Yeah, first quarter wave.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Shout out to Iowa for that. I've gotten experienced that a couple times. They wave at the Children's Hospital. That might be the coolest thing in the Big Ten, and I say that coming from Wisconsin where they do jump around. But the wave, it's after the first quarter, right? That is so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that happened
Nice
after I
fans.
graduated, so I didn't even get a chance to do it that first time, and then I didn't go back to a game maybe a year or two later, but getting to experience that for the first time is really, really
But when
cool.
you're actually in that stadium and you're waving at the hospital and you can actually see the kids up in that one floor where they all kind of gathered and waving back at you, like that is moving.
It's powerful.
It really is. It really is. Who will win a basketball tournament? I don't know. Is this person putting the teams together, or are we just everybody included? We got the Adams, so I'm including that. That must include Johns, Nicholas Moreano, Will DeWitt, Waddle and Sylvie thrown in there, and Olin and J-Mac.
Who's the teams? Like,
Maybe I think what he's doing is 2-on-2 here. I believe it's the different podcasts.
Ooh.
Right? You got the
Gotcha.
no-name guys, Adam and Johns.
That makes sense.
Sorry.
Okay, so the Adams, so
Owen
me and
Johns.
Will. Okay.
Can Will play? That was a no. That was a no.
That was a-
I'm
that
sorry,
was
Will.
as close to a no
Will?
without saying no as you could have.
Wow.
That was a straight up no.
We'll have to talk about
he's
this on
gonna definitely
Friday.
message me. He's like,
We'll
"What
be
the
back
hell,
on
Nick?"
Friday.
But we got it.
Because Johns and I can ball. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Um,
Olin and J-Mac. Though. I mean,
you gotta be careful. I'll tell you what. One of the best basketball players I ever played against was Charles Leno.
really?
Like sometimes those offensive linemen, you gotta now not to knock Olin. He was a center. Okay, don't take it personally. But those left tackles, they have to move. Mm-hmm. And
he's gonna say something tomorrow, Adam. Just wait.
he'll just take me out.
Who are the
I
shooters?
think-
You said you were a pretty good shooter, Adam.
I mean, it's been a couple years since I've really been playing. Hoge dunks on Olin. Wow, let's do it.
And again, we'll be having Olin tomorrow, just so
Yeah,
we're
we're gonna. I'm gonna specifically text him.
I could just see like a fast break. Like I'm coming in, I got the angle, and Olin's coming in, and I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna pull up.
Not today.
Let's just
Not
make
today,
a smart
Olin.
business decision there.
This was a question from earlier. Sorry, one of the free agent bad signings that a lot of
Yes.
people in the comments were enjoying is Marion Barber. Oof.
Oh man, running out of bounds. Is that the Tebow game? Was that the where Tebow? Came
Yeah,
back
it
to
was.
the Bears?
I was reading the rest of this. Yeah, because like contractually, not a big deal with the signing, but that cost you a big game.
Oh yeah.
It was a horrible move to run out of bounds. You lost to Tim Tebow, which made it even worse. Like I think that was, what year was that? Was it 2010 or was it 2011? I think it was 2011. I think that season I was covering just the home games, so I wasn't
2011 week
at
14.
that game in Denver. Yeah, and that was just like you're watching that and you're going, "What in the world could you have been thinking there?" So, I think that I don't know if Marion Barber qualifies as like worst free agent signings. I think that specific play is on a different list
Opposite of the shining moment.
of like the dubious list of.
Terrible plays.
One dubious moment or however
Something
we
like
want to
that.
call that could definitely be on there. So
Tillman had a ridiculous interception in that Denver game.
Ooh, I have to look that up.
I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
I don't remember that.
All I remember is I was so pissed off watching that game when Tebow coming back. But that's
definitely on the list of most frustrating losses. I think a couple weeks ago we talked about the one in Atlanta, 2008, where they took the lead with 11 seconds left and still managed to lose after a squib kick that didn't really get executed perfectly.
Yeah.
Jordan says Tebow literally tried to throw it out of bounds and Tillman came down with it. It was wild.
now this is kind of ringing a bell.
That just sounds like a Tim Tebow moment, trying to throw the ball out of bounds.
And a Charles Tillman.
Didn't Mitch do that a couple times where he's trying to throw the ball in and it still ends up inbounds?
I know.
And Matt Nagy was just losing his mind.
Tried running out of bounds or, not throwing the ball
out.
That
multiple times he ran out of bounds for a sack instead of throwing the ball away. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Whew. This is still turning into a list of bad free agent signings.
There was a comment earlier saying, why is this so depressing? And then we, got Kevin Fishbane on, spirits lifted, and now we're kind of...
Sorry, I just, enjoy the... Enjoy this comment from Matthew Lucas. The draft and post-draft, I hope, will be very fun for fans. Could see a lot of moves made around, and then along with more front office restructuring. See, there's some positivity.
Yeah.
Positivity, and we're going to have some cool things planned here at CHGO when it comes to the draft, how we're going to approach it. Olin will be on in studio. We'll be covering that live, so it will be a good time.
Yeah, we got some awesome plans for you that we'll share even more details as we get closer. But we will have the draft covered. Despite the fact that the Bears don't have a first-round pick, we'll still be here in case they do. And regardless, we'll react to some of the other moves because the first round is always fun around the league. And then, obviously, with the rest of the picks, we will have it all broken down. And we'll bring in more as we move closer and closer to the draft. We will have more draft conversation on a daily basis.
On those nights, you won't have to hear, if you come to us, you won't have to hear Chris Berman, first of all. Ding.
I don't even think he does the draft anymore.
Well, he pops up everywhere, maybe in the commercials, but whatever. And then I was wondering if one of you will slick back your hair to be a Mel Kiper for us. Can we talk about that maybe, along with the chairs? We could maybe consider that. I don't know who would be the best to do that.
Who would be the Mel?
Yeah.
Let's put Olin as Mel.
Well, no, that's not nice. That's another thing.
Todd. I heard Mel Kiper on my way down here today. He still does a phenomenal job.
Oh, I thought you just meant in your head.
I got a lot of respect for Mel Kiper. I got respect for all those guys that spend their entire year watching all this film on all these random players.
That's dedication.
To give everyone the info. Because, we spend a lot of time trying to get to know some of these prospects, and then they still will draft the most random player in the 5th round. And I'm not going to lie, it's frustrating. Because, you spend so much time preparing, and they still find a way to be like,
we're going to take this guy from
Jordan
small
Morgan.
School. Yeah.
Well,
why?
You're like, who is Jordan Morgan? You're scrolling through Google and all these draft books trying to figure it out. But, hey.
Those guys do a phenomenal job covering the draft, and we learn a lot from them.
Yeah. All right. Well, appreciate everyone on today's show. It's been a lot of fun. Maybe we got to set up that basketball tournament because
I think that's what
that just
sounded like.
Sounds great. Make sure you get those memberships, allchgo.com. Again, if you already have a membership or if you're signing up right now, I will be on the Discord here momentarily as soon as we get off to continue some of this Bears chat and answer your questions. And by the way, we're going to I think I'm going to open it up. Ask me anything. So,
Oh boy, here we go.
Except height. That's off limits. We've talked enough about that.
I don't want.
We don't need any more. Any more height questions. Follow us at CHGO_sports_Bears. Find me at Adam Hoge, him at Nicholas Moreano, not Nick Marino. I don't know who that is on Twitter. Maybe follow him too.
Let's see if I can find him.
Check him out. We'll be back tomorrow. Olin Kreutz will be here because it's Thursday. We'll talk to you then, 11 o'clock.